All right, so in Unit 2, we're going to understand angle relationships. And so this lesson is going to be an introduction to angle relationships. There's going to be a lot of angles that we're going to learn about in this unit, but we're going to start with some basic ones. Okay, so the first thing you need to know is the number of degrees around a circle. So if we travel all the way around a circle, the angle measure of that will be 360 degrees. So the key idea is 360 degrees is the angle measure around a full circle. Okay, so in today's lesson, we're just gonna look at different sections of the circle. So if you wanna draw this little diagram in your notebook, we can think about what each section looks like. So this first section is 90 degrees. We kind of looked at this when we did the rotations, right? So 1/4 section of the circle is 90 degrees. If we do 2 sections around the circle, that's half the circle, so that's 180 degrees. And actually, we'll just start with those 2 for now. So 90 is 1/4 section, and 180 is a half. So let's look at 2 different names of those angles. So this picture is showing angles that are called complementary. So these are complementary angles. And you can see that with this little symbol and the fact that it's 1/4 of the circle, these 2 angles make a 90-degree angle. So the thing you need to know about complementary angles is the angle measures add to 90, which 90 degrees, it's important to remember, is 1/4 of a full circle. Okay, so that's one key word. One key relationship is complementary angles. The next key relationship is, so these angle measures, this relationship is called supplementary. And another word for this is they make a linear pair. And so you can probably already see, what do supplementary angles add up to? The angle measures add to 180 degrees. So this makes 1/2 of a circle. All right, so there's one last one, and this one you guys probably already can see what this one makes. This will just be called angles around a point. There's not a fancy name for this one. And you can see if I add up all these angles around this point in the middle, these add to 360. These add to a full circle. So those are the 3 relationships we're going to work on just for today. Now I'm going to show you the problems that you're going to have to do using those relationships. So let's look at this first problem. We'll call this example 1. So whenever you see one of these diagrams, you first want to figure out what angle relationship are we dealing with. So one clue is this little corner triangle box right here tells me that I'm dealing with complementary angles. These angles add to 90 degrees. So we're going to write a little simple equation. The equations will get harder, but for now we're just going to write 60 degrees plus b equals 90 degrees. So I can easily solve that, subtract 60. So I can see that b has to be 30 degrees. So that's an easy example. We're going to do a few more that get a little bit trickier. All right, this is example 2. So take a minute and look at it and try to think about what angle relationship you could see right here. So I always like to kind of trace the angle to see what I'm looking at. And I can see that these angles are supplementary, which means they add to 180. So I'll make my simple equation. B plus 111 degrees makes 180. We'll just solve by subtracting again. And so B equals, let's see, 69 degrees. Yeah, I did that right. Okay, So we're going to get to harder examples that are going to combine a little bit of algebra. Let's look at this example right here. So take a minute before I start and see if you can figure out how to set up the equation for this example. So what kind of angles are shown here and how we write the equation. So whenever I see this little corner, that should be a big clue that I'm dealing with complementary angles. And so how will I set up my equation? So I'm going to take my pieces that I have and add them to 90 degrees. So 31 plus 4x plus 3 equals 90 degrees. So now this is where my algebra knowledge comes in. I just need to solve this out. So I'm going to combine like terms, subtract 34, 4x equals, what is this? 56, divide by 4, x equals 14. Okay, but I'm not done with this problem because I need to find the measure of this whole angle. So like, let me plug in that 14. 4 times 14 plus 3. That gets me 56 plus 3. And so this angle measure is 59. Great. So this is the process of solving for x and identifying the value of the missing angle. We're going to do 2 more of those examples for this quick lesson. So this will be example 4. Why don't you guys try to solve this one on your own? So copy the diagram and see if you can set up the equation and solve it. So pause the video and try to work this one out. All right, so I'm gonna look and I see these make a linear pair, right? These add up to 180 degrees. So these are supplementary angles. So I have 53 plus 1 plus 2x equals to 180. So solve this out. Hopefully this part is easy for you guys. Subtract 54 equals, what is that? 126. And so x equals 63. So I can just plug it in just to confirm that everything checks out. So I'll plug that in right there. 1 plus 2 times 63 is equal to 1 plus 126. So this is 127. And you can check if you want to be extra thorough. 127 plus 53, those two make 180. All right, we'll do one last example. I believe I just picked one more example. Let's see. Yeah, or maybe, I guess, yeah, one should be fine. Okay, so this should be example 6, I think. Or something. Okay, so this one we can see is angles around a point, right? These angles go all the way around a point. And so that means they add up to 360. So that's my clue to set up my equation. I'm going to say x plus 7 plus 105 plus 213 equals 360. Sorry. Okay, so this one's actually an easy one. I'm just going to add up all these pieces. Let's see. I'm not going to do that one in my head. I'm going to work it out. 7 plus 105 plus 213, 325. And so if I subtract 325 from both sides, I get x equals 35. And so if I want to confirm, I can just plug that back in here. 35 plus 7 is 42. And so if I want to be extra sure, let's just check. 42 plus 105 plus 2 plus 213. Does that get me to 360? Yep, perfect. So that's what you need to know so far about angle relationships. We're going to learn many, many more, but I want you guys to have those down for